we're going to come up to 4,000 RPM.
What engine do we have in here, Chris?
It's a Rotax 912 ULS.
ULS, okay, so normally carbureted.
Yep.
All right.
Totally normal mag drop. All of our temperatures are right down the middle, as they should be.
All right, you're checking all that on a G3X Touch, correct?
Yep, that's correct.
All right.
We are ready to roll.
Well, since he's just about rolling, I think we're close to number one.
Sounds right to me.
Land here is clear for takeoff.
Land here is on the roll, Juliet Hotel, thanks.
Tower RB3 Victor Alpha number 1 at 1.
2 Victor Alpha, ready to line up and wait.
Line up and wait, 3 Victor Alpha.
And the Cessna can turn downwind.
Welcome.
Finals clear.
Looks clear to me.
RB is clear for takeoff, runway 1.
Clear for takeoff, runway 1, RB.
All right, here we go.
Alrighty, full power.
So you can,
just going to hold the nose off a little bit.
Like you could
And we should just fly right off to 55.
Clear to land, runway 1. Cruise is solid.
And away we go.
I counted about an 8-second ground roll there, and a nice gentle takeoff.
We'll climb out about 75. That's our VY.
All right, 75 is VY, understood.
Give us a nice picture over the nose.
Yeah, I got lots of nose visibility. Even during climb, I could still see the runway that's slowly disappearing beneath us.
Report 3.
Finally got a beautiful day here at Sebring, so we've had to wait a couple days for it, but it's worth the wait.
That's the base finals clear.
Absolutely.
Clear to land.
Sebring Tower, Sport Cruiser 418 Sierra Charlie, holding short of 1, ready for departure to the Sport Cruiser. Thanks, hold short. Holding short.
And talking to one of my fellow journalists, he said, you know, it's pretty quiet in there. You could fly it without headsets. Indeed, I'm pulling one ear cup away, and he's right. It's not that noisy.
2135. We're at the restaurant in front of...
And we are at full power now, I presume.
Yep, been a little bit of a cruise climb here at 85.
Yep, showing 5,200 RPM right now, but of course we're climbing, so we're working the engine and prop a little more than the cruise attitude would.
Uniform, go to 121.35 again. They were having some problems earlier. 2135 transmit receive same frequency.
Roger, thank you, sir.
Sport Cruiser, line up and wait. Line up and wait, Sport Cruiser.
And at any time, you're welcome to take the controls if you like.
Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and grab the controls now.
Okay, you have the controls.
I have the airplane, and I'm free to turn left, am I?
Yes.
All right.
Nice traffic display here on our touch screen.
Oh, great. Okay, that's always helpful.
Sport Cruiser traffic.
Yeah, I got a couple of lumps up here today, but it feels pretty nice. I thought we'd go over by the lake there and see if there's anybody operating their seaplane.
That sounds great.
Turkey 671.
And I'm still showing about 88 knots.
Clear to land, number 2.
So we're, how high do you want to go?
Oh, about 2,500.
All right.
Should be good.
Up to 2,500.
Welcome.
Yeah, there we are, back down in the climb attitude a little bit better. Still got good nose visibility, though, with a good climb. So VX and VY, do them for me again.
Sure, so VY is going to be 75. You'd be in a no-flap configuration.
Okay.
VX, you're looking at 60 knots.
60 knots,
That's
huh?
with half flaps in.
Wow, you could really crank. It wouldn't be seen over the nose so well then, though, I'm guessing.
You'd be climbing like a rocket ship, though.
And what is max climb? What is the max you've been able to achieve with this engine?
Oh, well, you typically get about 900 feet per minute.
900 feet a minute,
Yep.
all right. Well, that's a pretty good number. That's a very good number, in fact.
Yeah, we're doing about 700 right now, 700, 800.
Okay.
Mike, we are about 4 miles.
We must have flown up out of the bumps. It just suddenly went smooth. And that was at right about 2,000 feet, so there's probably a little bit of
the shoreline
ground stuff going on that's heating up the atmosphere, lower atmosphere.
We'll head west.
Smooth as silk up here now.
Go ahead and make it right.
So I'm going to go ahead and maneuver back and forth here a little bit since it looks like we got the sky to ourselves right here.
Yeah, we look pretty clear out there.
Light Sport, we're green and white. We're on the west side of the highway southbound. We got the blue ball in sight.
Well, I think this is my third time in the RV-12, and of course it's got that same old RV feel that everybody loves. And Chris here with me has got a bazillion hours, or maybe a little bit less than that, but a lot of them in an RV-12. And I've just passed my 2500 target here, so I'm bringing the nose down now.
Yep, and trim is right here above the throttle if you need it.
Okay. On the instrument panel down here, I don't know if our camera is capturing this, but right below my hand here, if you can see that, we've got trim, avionics, nav, strobe, landing lights, and autopilot switches, plus a number of circuit breakers.
Well ahead of you now, no factor. Are you familiar with the procedure?
And I'm still gaining altitude here, I'll bet. Not too bad, you know.
Southeast.
So I almost don't feel like I need any trim, but I can feel that I actually do a little bit, so trim nose down a little bit.
Over the control tower.
Yep, and that's a speed variable trim, so the faster the airplane goes, the slower the motor will run. So you don't get that jerky feeling.
And am I a vernier throttle here, it feels like?
You have a vernier, and you can also push-pull it like a regular throttle as well.
Just monitor them.
They get it back out of the yellow range here. I guess I need to go a little bit more than that. So push in the button, right?
Nope, you don't even need to.
Just pull, okay, there's not a button. Okay,
push,
great.
Pull, and then fine adjustments, you can tune it.
Great, yeah, that's nice. I'm real spoiled on vernier. I like those. So they're not on all light sports. Nice to have it on this one. What do you want to be, like 52?
Sure, 52 is a pretty typical
Green and white
cruising speed.
All right.
to the northwest.
Coming down to 52. That's the beauty of these vernier, which is a twisting throttle for those of you that may not know. It's a screw thread arrangement. It allows you to set a very precise
See you coming up on the north.
power setting.
Okay, I see you doing.
All right, we're neutral now. A little bit more nose down. Airplane is pretty much flying herself here, and we don't have autopilot on. We do have autopilot, though, through the Garmin system.
Two-axis autopilot. It'll even do vertical stuff for GPS approaches if you want to play with that.
So you got to fly the airplane once in a while.
Yeah.
When we first got light sport and somebody started talking about autopilot, I went, well, what are you talking about? The fun of these airplanes is to maneuver them and hand fly them. They're a joy to fly. Do that. Well, that's all fine and good on that hour flight around the neighborhood or whatnot. When you go on a flight like you had from Oregon, though, I bet you use the autopilot a bunch.
Oh, yeah. Long flights, it's nice to have.
Because it's hard to do better than an autopilot if you just want to go straight and on a line somewhere. Hey, I'm going to do a little bit of what I call a Dutch roll, which is not anything aerobatic, of course. You know what it is very well, I'm sure. It helps me get some familiarity, though, with how the controls coordinate. Probably throw the ball around here quite a bit at first, but let's see how well I can do.
Mike Jackson approach, Bonanza 49er.
Doesn't take much rudder, does it?
Oh, no.
Mostly an aileron flying airplane, which is going to be, I'm just barely pushing on the rudders. And
1,100, look for traffic, a light sport. Just
know how I'm doing on the ball there. I can't really see it too well in the glare.
You're totally centered up.
We'll follow the what?
Well, believe me, folks, it's not me. The airplane is doing it very easily. But my pressure on the rudder pedals is very gentle, and we're rocking back and forth. I don't know, maybe that was 20, 30 degrees, something like that. Going to do a right turn now.
All right.
Looks clear out to my right.
Time descending.
See how am I doing on my altitude? I'm losing a little bit. I'm going to trim up just a little bit, and I probably need a little more power to maintain that. Backed it off a little too far there.
54 is our whiskey. Bonanza 49er Papa Sierra has the south water tower.
Okay, I'm kind of looking around for any traffic here, Chris, to see if I can do a 720 at a little steeper altitude.
Sure. It looks clear to me.
And it looks good to me everywhere, so I'm going to do this to the right first.
That's correct.
I've usually found that to the side you're sitting on is a little easier to maintain altitude. I'm starting at just shy of 51. Let's see how well I do here.
light sports at
Get her over a little bit.
north of the water tower.
Of course, in a steeper bank turn like this, I do have a little backstick pressure necessary, but holding on pretty good, and it's pretty easy to do. And we have definitely found the smooth air.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, is it nice.
2,085 miles of...
You know, these airplanes will do just fine in some turbulence, of course, contrary to what some people think, but the fact is there's nothing like smooth air to really enjoy flying.
What's the Lake Jackson? Of the water tower.
Factor that out and just carve through the sky.
The water tower. 1 mile due west of the water tower.
Well, I probably got 2 or 3 pounds of backstick pressure. I did not do any trim adjustment at all. And I'm not particularly steep here. Looks like about, is that 40?
About 50 degrees or so.
Yeah, so steep enough, but not too much.
Okay, I've got 2 of them there.
And I'm not doing anything except maintaining that little bit of back pressure. I haven't touched the controls in any other way, and the cameras have got to show this is just going around in circles like.
Cherokee, actually.
Yeah, how's my altitude? No, not too bad.
Yeah, looking good.
Yeah, so.
He's approaching the water tower on the west side.
Now, Chris, when you flew this out from Oregon to Florida, just about as far as you can possibly go in the continental United States, how many hours did you log on the airplane?
I was about 25 hours.
And so what did that, did you calculate that as to, you know, what that meant in terms of, I'm going to make the same maneuver to the left now, just letting you know.
Sure.
And, of course, the standard drill, anytime you think I'm not doing something right or you want to take control, just announce that and do it.
Yeah, you're looking,
I'll get off.
looking just fine.
Somewhere other than midfield.
Yeah, we'll see if I can do as well to the opposite. Usually when you turn to the other side in a side-by-side aircraft, you're not quite as good. And indeed, I'm having a little more altitude control, but not bad. But always a little tougher this direction.
Going down the road.
Maybe because the upper line of the canopy doesn't cut through the horizon the same way, I suppose.
When I have the airport around to the left, I'm up there.
Who's the aircraft?
Yeah, not much airplane out in front of us.
Nope, and speaking of which, a low-wing airplane, some people fault a low-wing airplane for blocking your downward view. And indeed, if I look directly out to the side, I can't see directly down, but now that I'm looking over you toward the ground, I mean, I can hardly see any wing at all. I can see down very well. So this airplane has got its wings in the right place as far as downward visibility, but it also makes entry a pleasure. You can step in, the canopy goes far enough forward, you don't have to fight the canopy, and you just can stand on the floor, which can handle the weight, and it makes entry to the airplane much easier than some low-wing airplanes. So that's nice for some of us that are a bit less flexible than we were at one time.
The center of the airport.
Well, that couldn't have been too much easier, so that was almost non-eventful, but
Runway 1. Monitor the tower now.
let's go back and see if we can find anybody flying around in their seaplanes.
Sure.
Okay, so did you have a chance to do any calculation on what those 21 hours translated to for average cruise speeds, and tell me something about burn rates if
Yeah.
you did that?
So on a trip like that, we're obviously trying to maximize our speed to get across the country, and this airplane will do 120 knots true, and you're looking at about 4.85 gallons an hour.
4.8 to 5, and what altitude were you at when you did all that, Chris?
Typically we were about 7,500.
Okay.
Catching some nice tailwinds across the country.
Did you get some?
Oh yeah.
Well, you
yeah.
probably won't get those going back,
No,
so you're going to log a couple more hours then, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Right over you, turn.
Well, that's not too bad. I'm sure there are people going, oh, wow, I'd like to do that. So, well, you know what? You can acquire your own RV and do that. So,
Yep.
Go out there to the factory, pick it up, and fly it home to wherever you live. This is a real pretty one. You got it dolled up very nice with some nice paint job on it. I like the paint job. Yeah, a lot of people always go to light colors. I kind of like your use of the dark colors on the airplane. It's a little contrast from the usual white with an accent stripe or whatever. Nothing wrong with that, but this coloration is nice.
Yeah, we like to mix it up, keep it fresh.
110 for overhead midfield.
Well, there's nobody around. I'm not seeing any traffic at all. Do you?
Nope, we're just got one guy on our screen, but he's...
I want to give the airplane back to you and have you demonstrate a power on and a power off stall for me. I'm going to let you do it so I can just observe, and I'll follow with you, but you'll have the airplane.
Yeah, you bet. I got
airplane's back to you.
I have the control.
All right.
Alrighty, so let's go ahead and start out with a power off if that works for you.
That works for me. He's backing off on the power here.
A little bit more.
And just call it out as you go, and
Sure.
that'll inform us in case we may not be seeing the screen. So, folks, we're trying to give you a view of the screen, but it may or may not show up. It depends on the lighting inside the cockpit here and so on.
Yeah, so reducing the power, maintaining our altitude, letting the airspeed bleed off. We'll below 82 knots is our flap extend speed, so I can add as much flaps as I like.
And the flap is down between us. It's a mechanical with a detent button.
Yep.
And how many positions do we have available?
2 positions.
Okay, and that gets us how much flap?
It's about 30 degrees when it's all out.
So 15 and 30, would that be about it for the 2 positions?
Yep.
All right.
It's about 400 to 500.
So I'm just gonna bring the power back in here at 55. This is our slow flight speed, so you can get a kind of a sight picture of what slow flight looks like. And if you like to give it a control feel here, you can see how it handles in the slow flight configuration.
It's still quite responsive. Definitely, I mean, the result is good. Obviously, the feel is a little softer than it was at cruise speeds, but no problem with authority. It's coming in there right away.
If you look off that yellow building.
All right, airplane's back to you.
Alrighty, I have the airplane. And 55 also happens to be our approach speed on final. So
so we're on an approach to landing, and now we're going to execute a. When you do it not quite the way you're supposed to do it.
So I'm going to go ahead and pull power all the way out, like we're descending towards the runway here.
All right, power's all the way on.
We're just going to pitch up a little bit.
Float plane is up to your left.
And we'll get a very loud stall warning.
Can't miss that.
Nope.
And a visual, I see.
Yes.
I'm seeing 42, 41, about 41 it looked like.
We're not really.
And he's just holding the stick full aft.
I'm in full aft configuration right now. I'm just driving us around with the rudders.
Wow.
And we're not going to get, a little bit of a break. And we'll just recover normally.
And that was a nothing recovery too, but the airplane, now you'd have to know with that thing going off in your headset, the light blinking on the panel, the airplane saying, hey, come on, we're not going fast enough, but it was still very cooperative.
Yep.
Modern, looks like a big lollipop, the south one.
Yeah, there's plenty of warning, plenty of buffet shaking going on to let you know that you're not in a configuration you should be in.
Yeah, you would really have to not be paying attention, and of course on an approach to landing, that's incorrect technique.
Yep.
Lots of warning there.
We can go ahead and do a power on too.
All right, let's do a power on stall. That's a. You gonna do it with full power?
Yeah, I'll do it full power.
All right.
I'll bring the power back here, get us back down to our rotation speed.
All right.
Which also happens
Which number is what?
55 knots.
55. Okay, so 55 is kind of a good number to remember in the RV-12, I gather.
Okay, we're gonna be.
Yeah, we'll do a normal takeoff configuration, which is gonna be 0 flaps.
Okay. Flaps are all off right now.
And there's our stall warning. That typically goes off about 8 knots above stall. So there's 55. We'll go ahead and bring the power in and just give her a good pitch up. Takes quite a bit of pitch. And we're just.
That's at least a 30, 40 degree deck angle there. It's pretty steep.
And a little bit of break.
A little bit of break.
Just let the nose kind of drop through and climb right out.
There's a Mike Hotel, Roger.
All right, very nice. Now, notice both times we did drop a little bit, not excitingly to the right, but both times it went to the right. You reckon that's a P-factor effect? Kind of what I thought it might be.
Yeah, way on the other side of the lake.
But the recovery was virtually instantaneous, and it looked to me like just the slightest relaxation of the stick to allow that to fly again.
Yeah, it's a very stable platform. I mean, if you're ever in a scenario like this where you just let go of the stick, the airplane will stay right where you put it.
Nobody's touching anything right now. We were already in a little bit of a climb, so it was continuing to do that, but it's just continuing around here what looks like about a 10 degree or so bank. And in fact, if anything here, it's wanting to go back to straight and level. Pretty much on its own.
Yep, and one thing I always like to tell the customers that take a ride with us is, if you ever find yourself in a scenario where you say you flew into clouds or you lost spatial disorientation, one of the nice features the Autopilot offers is this level button. So anytime you're flying, you hit that button, the Autopilot takes the airplane, puts you in a level.
Now that's even if he didn't have it on.
Right.
Okay.
Right, so you don't even have to hit the on button, you just hit that level button, and it'll take the airplane into a level position. So say you drop something,
right.
You pick it up.
Or you're just distracted, or you're beyond your skill level, and you got there and you didn't mean to, which happens, that's not a fault of a pilot, but man, that's a nice feature to have. Single button, everything comes back to normal. Now you got a chance to regather your wits or pick up the thing off the floor or whatever you need to do, and then resume normal flying. Nice feature.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and turn that off.
And you did that by this, is this a, oh I see, I couldn't read it exactly, but it's autopilot disconnect?
Autopilot disconnect here, you can disconnect it from the head as well.
Okay, all right. But this would be handy because it's right next to where you should have your hand on the throttle when you're doing maneuvering or coming in for a landing or whatever, and you can get rid of that thing right away.
Exactly.
Beautiful. So, how have you enjoyed the G3X Touch on your 21 hours of flying out here?
It's been a fantastic system for us. It's really intuitive. There's no place where you would expect, if you expect to touch the screen, it'll have a button there for you to do it.
Okay, give me an example of that.
So sure, say I need to put my transponder code in.
Okay.
I can see I'm squawking 1200. There's no indication that that's a button, but if I wanted to change the 1200, my initial instinct is to click the 1200, and then it brings up this menu here.
Beautiful.
Where I can change the transponder code. And same for the radio, this actually will control the radio.
Okay, so it does, I mean, you can control the radio from the radio itself, but you can also do all of it from the screen.
Yes.
And very intuitive again, just tap it. That was the gentlest of touches, it looked like. And
and then there's various
and then a back button to just get you back where you were.
Right, the dedicated buttons are there so that they're the buttons you're going to use most often. So if you ever are in turbulence, these are the hard point buttons.
Okay, all right. So you've always got the solid buttons as well, and they're the most common ones. Nearest, direct, menu to get that, your various choices, and just back to go back to where you were.
And then being a Garmin product, it also has the knob, the big knob, little knob architecture, so you can still use that in a traditional setting.
Okay.
Also. And then if I touch any of these menu options, it pulls up a button that's fairly large so that it's easy to get your finger where you need it to go.
And I can see that I use a Garmin 796 quite often. It looks identical. Oh, when you hit that, I recognized all those things right away. So the many people that are using 796 or the earlier 696, I'm sure will be very comfortable with that.
Yeah, something we're really excited about with this screen is the integration for flight schools who have G1000 airplanes. It's an easy transition into the Garmin architecture.
Sure, right, and they, if they stay at LSA, which many will, that'll be their destination. That's great. But for those that want to go on to bigger airplanes or airline or whatever, they're going to have an orientation for instruments they'll use in another airplane, no doubt.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, why don't we cross over the lake here and let's go back to the airport and shoot a landing or so. I do see one guy down there. Looks like he's going left or right across the lake.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to go back and we're going to execute just a conventional landing in the airplane. Chris will, and I'll follow along and observe, and we'll talk you through it. And we're using one of the features on the Garmin now. Again, I don't know if the camera back here is showing that or not, but I've got a view from the tail looking forward, seeing all the landing gear, both wings. Looks like all of both wings. So that's kind of fun. The Garmin Virbs are all over this camera, all over this airplane. We're festooned with Garmin Virbs. And we like that because we can use one camera and know how to use them all right away. Kind of that Garmin effect again. So they did a nice job with them. They seem to be nice cameras. You've looked at the video that you've seen. Are you happy with the Garmins?
It's been fantastic,
I'll send you to the tower at 500 feet.
Now, did you fly all the way out here with that on there? Or?
I did it for a couple legs just where the scenery was real pretty.
Okay.
We could get some good footage.
Flew over the mountains and stuff?
Yep, we're right over Lake Powell and Page, Arizona.
Cool.
Beautiful country.
Okay, so you went probably down the coast and then came over in the southern tier of the states?
Yep, we had a couple scheduled stops on the way.
I see, okay.
Worked out well.
Cool. Well, I've got this guy ahead of us. He is left to right going out of our... You'll probably pick up on it now, so...
Yep, I got it.
Back around to follow the Bonanza. And give them a call.
Thanks much.
Boeing just crossed over, got you in sight there. You can start your downwind turn anytime now.
Got us in sight.
Photo flights, grounds 121.35. Following traffic, so rolling out on about a quarter-mile final wing up for the low wing on the downwind.
Now we got him inside. We'd like to be Alpha 2. We're an expo plane.
Do you have a placard that says that?
We are a demonstration plane.
Okay, what's your tail number?
3 Victor Alpha.
Okay, 3 Victor Alpha, yeah.
Checking on us. That's all right.
Moving on the runway without delay, taxi down the runway, V-tail Bonanza, all the way down the runway, and turn right at Alpha 2, a right turn.
Right turn on Alpha 2, 4 Delta Fox.
Alrighty.
Victor Alpha, clear to land, traffic's over the numbers.
Clear to land, 3 Victor Alpha.
Detail Bonanza, it'll be a right turn to the next taxiway, then contact ground 121.35.
121.35, 4 Delta 5.
500.
Tango Alpha, turn left at altitude and hold short of the parallel ground to 121.35.
Hold short of the parallel left altitude.
All right, I'm going to do a couple of numbers here. We're about 60, coming down to
Say again?
5322 kilo.
that magic landing approach speed.
Okay, 2
Yep,
kilo,
right
roger.
at 55.
A little close.
A bit of a
I'm
bump.
going to do a couple of snakes to stay behind him.
Okay, 2 kilo, maneuver is necessary to get some spacing if you're coming around him. Use a low wing.
Roger.
Alright, don't see the one that's in front of you there. I should pick him up here just a minute.
We'll just kind of fly this pitch attitude all the way down to the runway.
All right.
And catch a nice little cushion and ground effect.
It's virtually level, so we're not nose up, nose down, just kind of normal flight attitude.
And it should just settle right down into ground effect here.
Alright, are you the high wing, Cessna white color?
Very nicely done.
That'll be a short field off at altitude 2.
Down one in close here, clear to land runway 1.
Clear to land, 7974 Bravo.
Clearing the runway for the next guy.
Hold short of the parallel ground 1.
There's some more coming.
We'll do it, 3 Victor Alpha.
Alright, the low wing, you can widen out a little bit to follow him. I'm going to bring him right on in.
1805 for departure, and I'll hold short 1. Roger.
Now, I didn't ask you, but when we took off, were you using any flaps?
No.
Do you ever use any flaps on takeoff, Chris?
You can on a short field.
And then would you use just 15, I presume?
Yep.
Okay.
That'll get you off the ground a little quicker.
Okay. But normal takeoff, regular runways and whatnot, no flaps.
Yeah.
And do you always use full flaps on landing?
Yeah, I tend to. You can land with half flaps or no flaps if you chose to.
And you just get a little longer float then, I'm
right.
guessing.
It is a slippery airplane, just like all the rest of the RVs. So
All right.
like to get as much drag as you can get.
The green aircraft in front of the...
Well, cool. I think hopefully we got all the video and audio we need, but another nice experience with you, Chris, so thanks for your time and letting us pepper the airplane with suction cups and cameras, so